Welcome to the Cloud Education Series offered by Matrix. We're lucky to have CIMcloud with us to talk about e-commerce and some platforms that integrate with Sage 100. I am recording this meeting, so just so you know, we are under recording, and we'll turn it over to Jack, and Jack's going to tell us how CIMcloud works with Sage 100 and offerings they have. Jack, you want to take it away?
Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. And thank you for everybody on both today's live session, as well as anybody that is watching this in a recorded format. So appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys. And as Jeremy alluded to, we're going to talk about CIMcloud, which is the solution that I'm going to talk about today. And it is a integrated e-commerce solution designed for Sage 100. So I'm going to kind of walk through an overview of our product, how businesses like those of you either watching or listening live operate, and how we can help your business kind of move forward into the digital age. So putting a face with a voice, my name is Jack Evans. I am the sales manager here at CIMcloud. So I work with both new customers trying to put together prospective plans, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 projects to accomplish their e-commerce objectives. And then I also work with our existing customers as they grow and mature in their usage of the CIMcloud application. So I'm just putting a face with a voice here, but again, I'm going to kind of walk through a loose agenda today. And if there's any questions that come up while I'm presenting today, feel free to put them in the chat, drop if you are able to unmute yourself, just holler them out. Definitely want to be informal today. And make sure that we're getting information that's specific to your needs and your interests. So like I said, we'll be kind of hitting these throughout or at the back end, or if you have any questions that are more intimate, we can obviously have a conversation after the fact. So today's agenda is we're going to walk through basic e-commerce trends. So as somebody who works with a lot of different businesses that are Sage 100 users, and have some degree of e-commerce needs, I figured it would be nice for you guys to kind of hear my feedback from the front lines. So what are businesses currently looking to do? How are projects going? What are some of the different ways we're solving problems for businesses? So just kind of high level trends, industry outlook, if you will. Then I'm going to talk about CIMcloud solution in general, how we work in different capacities with businesses like you, the different kind of flavors of our solution and how users are utilizing the solution. And then ultimately, we're going to kind of funnel that into some customer success stories. So one thing that I've found in these types of settings is that making just kind of a general pass through the product and then using actual real world client examples is a helpful way for the audience to kind of associate themselves with the product. So, oh, you know, that looks and feels like problems we're dealing with. Or that's something that we've evaluated doing in the future. So I'll just kind of walk you through some actual client examples within the last 12 months of companies and customers that I've worked with and had some success with. So without further ado, we're going to just dive straight into e-commerce trends and categorical trends in 2022. So what you're seeing here on the key focus areas, and I'm not going to read these slides to you guys, you can obviously do that on your own, but the key thing here is independent of CIMcloud, where should your business be focusing? So coming out of, you know, the post-COVID world, and obviously independent of anything pandemic related, things continue to move more digital by the day. So looking at the different areas that your business can improve or adjust or pivot moving forward, all kind of center around key focus areas that you should be looking at. So the first one is obviously allowing your customers to self-service, which think of that as giving users alternatives to calling your business, emailing your business, waiting on a sales rep to come call on your account. The customer self-service concept is basically molded around the Amazon experience of the world, where 24/7 access to your account information, ability to place orders, ability to see invoices or historical orders, and do all of that on your own as a customer. So again, kind of, I think everyone's used to having that 24/7 business access. And so having customer self-service alternatives, whether that's through a solution like CIMcloud with e-commerce, whether that is some sort of ticketing system for users to come in and allocate work. Again, all of that being around giving power to your customers to do business on their terms. Obviously, in that grain of allowing customers to self-service is utilizing integrated solutions. So within today's context, we're going to talk about how CIMcloud's e-commerce solution leverages integration with Sage 100 so that customers can effectively self-service. The next item here is remote work capabilities. So it's funny for me, having been in a business that was basically 100% in office, traditional business hours, and coming out of COVID, we've pivoted into a remote first concept. So a lot of businesses I work with have similar setups. So maybe you have your administrative staff has a remote first where you can, choose to come into the office, or have designated days to come into the office, or again, just giving people the flexibility to work where they are, or even work while traveling. So remote work capabilities, or kind of that 24/7 access for your employees. And then the final thing here is consolidating vendors. So I think everybody, when you look at software categorically, you have a warehouse management system, and you have an e-commerce system, and you have a ticketing system, and you have all these different systems that are designed to give your business flexibility. And so consolidating those vendors as much as possible is something that businesses should be trying to do. Obviously, some of those cannot be consolidated, but trying to eliminate having too many vendors that are not adding value to your business or that are adding bottlenecks for the business overall. So key customer trends that I'm seeing, and I'm gonna kind of focus on three things as it pertains specifically to e-commerce. So, and I'll hit some slides on each of these individually. But the key thing on the first item here is that business to business companies, when it comes to e-commerce, have different needs than think a direct to consumer or a Nike.com, Target.com, things that we're kind of utilizing in our day-to-day life. Also talking about when customers do come to me, are they looking to replace their entire web presence, or they just want to add on to it? And then there's obviously trends where customers are saying, hey, we want to try new online sales channels and do that effectively for our business. So the first thing here is when customers come to me, you're seeing 57% here, but just the categorical kind of outlook here is that a lot of businesses have outdated legacy websites that are very much brochure driven. So, hey, we're a real company. We operate, here's our business hours, here's our address, here's a little bit of information about us. And it probably, was built in 2008 or 2010. It's outdated, but it does allow your business to be found and people to contact you. So again, these legacy sites have a place within your business. They have value for your business. But a lot of times when customers come to me, they're like, hey, I want to use the website as a demand generation tool. And we don't have an ability to display products on our outdated legacy website. Or, hey, we want to use the website for different account requests, or we want to use the website to tell the story of our business and how we differentiate from competitors. So replacing these legacy sites with a modern, updated website is one thing that CIMcloud offers. I'll get to in the second section here. But this would be one kind of concept where customers are coming to me and saying, hey, we have an old, outdated website and we need something new from a public facing standpoint. The second thing we're going to talk about in a little bit of detail here and a little bit of detail in section 2 is how customers can utilize CIMcloud either to replace those legacy websites and put a public facing website in place, or they could say, hey, our marketing team has, they sit down once a week. They like doing different testing and different modifications. We want a complete open source public facing website, but then we want to utilize CIMcloud as a B2B customer portal off of that website. So kind of a multi-site approach where you're giving your marketing team a web platform that they're comfortable utilizing that gives them all the bells and whistles they need from a branding standpoint. And then you're utilizing CIMcloud to be the transactional piece of that overall online presence. And again, I'll give you some ideas on that here in section 2. And then the final kind of trend that I've seen, and this was really a trend that has emerged, I think, over the last 10 years, But even more so now coming into 2022, 2023, a lot of businesses are saying, hey, a lot of customers are asking for online access and ability to do business online. So we want to open up a new sales channel and utilize e-commerce to do that. So you've seen a lot of businesses, and one thing I've seen is people are like, oh, we're going to go and do the Amazon for business experience, and that creates challenges and opportunities and all that go with that. Or hey, during COVID, we spun up a basic direct to consumer website. We love the margins that yields, but we've realized that because we did that as a standalone website versus a fully integrated website, it creates a ton of different bottlenecks and constraints for our business. So again, in a B2B world, the opening of new sales channels is great, but making sure that those sales channels are built for a wholesale or business to business type selling environment is key. And I'll talk about how CIMcloud allows businesses to utilize Sage 100 and our integration with Sage 100 to make these new sales channels both effective for customers as well as operationally efficient for your business. So you don't want to just create these new desperate sales channels and then it just creates additional work for your team. So we'll talk about in detail how CIMcloud kind of fits into all of these. But the key thing is, if you have an old, outdated website, you need to evaluate what that website's overall value is for the business and what do you want to utilize a new website for moving forward. Again, I talked a little bit about utilizing CIMcloud as a customer portal versus utilizing it for your overall public-facing website, and then how CIMcloud can open up new sales channels for your business. So just some high level trends. There's obviously a lot more that I'm seeing on the front lines, and happy to, obviously have a conversation with each of you individually, but just some things to be thinking about within your business. So I'm going to talk a little bit about CIMcloud as a solution. So our product offering that I'll get to in the next couple slides here is an all-in-one Sage 100 integrated e-commerce solution. So what you should be seeing here, and I'm going to just kind of motion on screen here, but basically this diagram gives you an overview of how CIMcloud and Sage 100 work together to drive a website experience for users. So what we do is install our proprietary sync tool, which is an integration technology that we've developed. We would build that, maintain it on your Sage server. And what we're doing is tapping into both the macro data, so your customers, their bill tos, their ship tos, or their single bill to, their ship tos, your products, the pricing, inventory levels. If you're using things like internal rate tables for shipping or for tax purposes, obviously all of that information is locked inside of the ERP system, and to utilize it on a website requires integration, as well as things that are customer specific. So their negotiated pricing, quantity price breaks, sales order and invoice history, being able to purchase on terms. Again, all of that information lives inside your ERP system. And so getting it out either requires doing an import-export strategy, a integrator strategy, or a solution like CIMcloud that's actually designed to be integrated with Sage 100. So what we're doing is taking that information, bringing it out into our platform that allows your customers and your employees to access that Sage 100 information. For customers, they can log in. I'll get to this in just a minute, but they can log in. They can see their customer specific information. For your reps, they can log in and see their specific account groupings, all of that information. And then ultimately, any activity happening out here on the web that's transactional, so placing a sales order, making an invoice payment, all of that flowing back into the ERP system or your Sage 100 system in real time. So what you would be seeing here, if I was drawing on screen, is a bi-directional real-time integration between Sage 100 and CIMcloud, keeping both systems up to date and giving customers and employees an accurate snapshot in a remote environment into Sage 100. So that's kind of our core product offering. There's additional things that we can do for clients and do for clients. So think of like an API driven order pass through. So maybe you have a standalone direct to consumer website. Maybe that's built on Shopify or Magento. And we can utilize our API framework and our integration technology to pass those orders into Sage 100. We have punch out functionality that we can utilize. So again, a lot of highly complex custom things that we can do for users, but out of the box, we have a Sage bidirectionally integrated platform that I'm going to dig into right now. So I mentioned earlier the ability to utilize CIMcloud as a customer portal from an existing website. So obviously, some of the value there is giving your marketing team, allowing your marketing team to continue operating a standalone website for the purposes that they want to utilize it for: information, branding, storytelling, and then utilizing CIMcloud as an add-on to that website to provide a customer portal for your obviously customers. So things that they can do, right? So they can go through a product catalog or a price list, view product information, see their pricing, see quantity price breaks, look at different reports on frequently or recently ordered products, obviously placing orders based on terms. So if I'm net 15 or net 30 and the website requires me to place a credit card or to put a credit card down at the time of purchase, I'm probably not going to use the website, and I'm just going to call your team. But if I can go online, I can purchase with terms, basically as a bill me order type. Then I'm going to use the system because I don't have to spend my time or call during business hours or email and hope that somebody received it. I can just log into the site, place that order, and get back to whatever else I was doing with my day. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, you can see order and invoice history. So again, because CIMcloud is integrated with Sage 100, we're bringing up both online and offline history. So that's a key value add with CIMcloud, is that we're going to give that entire customer snapshot and not just the information that would be, or the orders and payments that were made on the website. And then obviously giving users the ability to manage their account information. So, hey, we have a new ship to, or hey, we've moved locations, or hey, we have a new employee here that's responsible for purchasing. All of those things, giving users the control to add, edit on their own, removes the need for your team to handhold users basically on how they utilize the website. The remote employee visibility was one thing I alluded to earlier. And what you're seeing here is my CRM workspace. This is included in my base product. Some customers get a ton of value from it. Some customers utilize other CRM solutions, and perfectly fine there. But what this gives your business, and where I kind of see this most commonly utilized, would be businesses that have a customer service. Maybe it's 1, 3, 5 people, and all they do all day, every day is receive phone calls, emails, tickets, whatever else they're getting, requesting support from customers. And so this gives you a quick and easy snapshot into Sage account information. It gives these reps an ability to place orders remotely, to apply payments remotely, to answer questions from customers remotely. So again, it gives your business, rather than having to VPN into Sage or having a designated workstation within your business that has that Sage interface, this gives you the ability to see information that's accurate, place orders or do things transactionally and keep Sage accurate, and do all of that again in a remote real-time environment. So again, between the customer portal and the rep enablement or CRM portal, these would be the core building blocks of CIMcloud, and things are included in my base product. So this is all just out of the box, purchase, install, go live. Typically, you're looking at, for the B2B customer portal and the CRM rep portal, you're looking at a 2 to 3 month implementation timeline, just depending on scope there. But again, the key thing is that this is standard out of the box product that you can get live and get value from very quickly as a business. So some additional things that I alluded to was the public facing web component. So whereas some customers come to me and say, hey, we want to keep our existing website and just use a B2B customer portal with CIMcloud to get value, others come to me and say, hey, we want to use CIMcloud for a public website. And there's kind of two strategies to that. So what you're seeing here on screen is a customer of ours that wanted to use the website as a demand generation tool. They wanted businesses to be able to search in their area and find them and figure out what products they offer. But what you can see here is that all transactional functionality is behind a login. So sign in to see price, sign in to place an order, sign in to view account information. So the key thing here is they wanted users to be able to find their business, learn about their business, request an account with their business, but everything transactional, again, is behind a login. Whereas a site like this on my screen now would be a full retail website. So basically saying, hey, we want for our business to business customers to be able to log in and see their account information, but we want anonymous guest users to be able to come see information about our product, see pricing, see inventory availability, place orders. We'll ship it anywhere. So this would be kind of your full retail environment where you're saying users can log in, they cannot log in. We're going to show, the standard price or the retail price field from item maintenance in Sage 100 to a non-logged in user. But then when a user does log in, they're going to see their negotiated pricing. So again, giving you that full e-commerce experience. So everything from a customer portal off an existing website to a complete site replacement is things that we do for customers at CIMcloud. So the big thing that I'll hit in this last slide on our product overview here is how do I get this implemented for my business, right? So one thing that we've worked on at CIMcloud over, the last 3 to 4 years, I've been with the business for about 6.5, but one thing we've really focused on within our business and our deployment implementation is giving users flexible options to get this implemented for their business. So there's kind of a couple components to this, right? So one is giving customers or CIMcloud customers the flexibility to manage budget. So rather than saying, hey, you have to outsource all of the work on this project, maybe you have a team internally, maybe you have a marketing team, or maybe you have some sophisticated IT resources that are fully capable of implementing the solution once it's had the integration work done. And that allows you to keep that cost of the project mostly on payroll. You can utilize different solutions for outsourcing of labor. So you could say, hey, we have a marketing manager. He or she is going to be kind of overseeing the CIMcloud implementation project, but we want to use an implementation partner firm. And that would be a firm that I would bring in. They would give you kind of a scoped out labor package. So here's what we're going to do for you on the project. Here's what work you're doing. Here's the work we're doing. So that would be one option, is bringing in an implementation partner. We also at CIMcloud have a complete division of our business that is exclusively designed for professional services. So that could be everything from project management services to discrete customization work. Maybe you have custom integration needs where you want to utilize a non-standard workflow on whether it's product information, sales order entry. So utilizing my professional services group to customize the platform to your needs. And then also using a VAR or your Sage value-added reseller like Matrix to say, hey, we're doing a Sage integrated e-commerce project, and we need some help making sure that the logic within our Sage 100 system is going to play well with the logic that we want to utilize on the website. So what you're seeing here is a kind of multi-faceted approach to implementing CIMcloud. And the key thing with where I fit into all of this is helping you understand what are the resources that you have available for the project internally, what are the resources that are needed to have project success, so how much work is going to go into having the solution effectively implemented, and then how do we want to structure a project team within both your goals from a timing standpoint, from a budget standpoint, and from a project scope standpoint. So like I said, part of what I do with every customer is sit down and say, okay, great. Here's what we're going to do from a business standpoint. We're going to do a B2B customer portal off of your existing website for users to log in and place orders. Now let's figure out how we're going to get this implemented within a budget that you're comfortable with. So just wanted to introduce the concepts of, it's not just buy a website, snap your finger, and it's ready to roll. There's work that you need to do or that needs to be done to make it fit your business. And at CIMcloud, we work with you to help you put together that project team. So the last section here, and I'm going to take probably 10 minutes and go through this, is just basic customer success stories, utilizing 2 client examples that I've worked with within the last year. So what you're going to notice here, in the e-commerce objectives section, is that all of these projects have phases to them. And phase 1 is obviously the starting point. But part of what my job is as a solution consultant is to say, what is the short-term must-have needs? And then what can we do to de-risk your investment by saying, hey, let's do this in phase 2 or phase 3 or phase 4. So the client that we're looking at in example 1 here is a compost supplier distributor based in California. So they're a Sage 100 user, and they had very few product SKUs, but a very high volume of sales orders. So what they were trying to do was basically take the strategy I've alluded to a couple of times here and say, we have an existing marketing website. We have a firm that we utilize. They're doing, content strategy, social strategy, industry information, a blog, all of those things that are very marketing focused. And they just wanted to use CIMcloud as a B2B customer portal for users to log in and, obviously do things transactionally. And they were going to start with a very limited grouping of products. So you're seeing brands here. Really think of, because it's a compost distributor, these are just different product offerings. And so they were starting with 3 of their secondary kind of components. So not their core business. They were focusing within a very specific customer group and a very specific product line. So that was kind of a phase 1 objective. In phase 2, they wanted to do kind of simultaneously introduce the rest of their product offering to that existing customer portal group. And then they also wanted to open up a retail site. And it's really unique. They're doing partnerships with different municipalities. So incentivizing customers to buy through them on behalf of different cities. So a very unique use case here. But basically, they wanted to start with phase 1, get adoption, get success, and then move forward. Just some things that we had to account for in the project and during the sales process. This was their first time implementing an e-commerce solution. And anytime you're doing first time e-commerce, there's obviously risk involved. And the risk is really, how much adoption can we get where we're getting value and offsetting operational costs and expenses and time. So there was obviously just some dipping your toe in the water considerations that had to be made. Because they were a first time e-commerce trier, there was some budget sensitivity. So, hey, we don't want to make a massive investment up front if we don't know that we're going to have adoption success. So there was obviously a need for them to keep that phase 1 scope as financially limited as possible. And then they also had a variety of competing projects, like many of you on today's call would have, right? So you need to do a Sage upgrade. You need to get, a new warehouse management system put in place. For these guys, they had a need for a payment gateway that was compatible online. Their Sage VAR was encouraging them to do a business process review. So, hey, we're talking about e-commerce, but let's look at everything holistically. So there was a lot of different things that need to be accounted for up front, or that at least need to be considered up front before we started the project. And the outcome. So this was sold late 2021. I think that the project kicked off in December of 2021. So they went live, I think, end of March, early April. So early Q2, late Q1. With their customer portal with the limited product line offering. Between there and August 2022, they kind of focused on stabilization, improving the platform as is. And then what we did was basically rolled in the additional product lines. That's 2A. That was the easy part. And then we're currently in the implementation process of that retail site that's going to be going live, hopefully November 15th. I know that's the date that was established when I spoke with them last week. But the key thing, just looking at it here, is they went live with phase 1. They got value. They got ROI for the business. They saw, different ways they could utilize the system. They got customer feedback, and then they invested further in phase 2 after all of that learning. So a very low risk way of trying to get value from a solution like CIMcloud. And then the second example we're going to look at here is a little bit different profile and a little bit different project, but they are a stocking distributor. So they do, apologies for that. Let me get this off my screen. I need to clean up those reminders there. But they're a stocking distributor, and they basically have 3 unique divisions of their business, all operating out of the same Sage 100 install. So some customers are actually using multiple company files. This customer was just using division codes, but again, just highlighting that we can handle the complexity there of multiple business divisions. So in phase 1, they were looking at the cable division within their business and saying, hey, we have an existing legacy website. It has decent adoption. We are seeing a lot of issues where customers either can't fully use the system because the information isn't up to date or accurate. And there was concerns for them of saying, hey, we're doing 400 orders a month online, and we're having to manually import those into Sage 100 via Visual Integrator. So for them, there was just a little bit of a bottleneck on keeping the website information up to date, and then also making sure that anything on the website got back into Sage 100. So that was kind of the phase 1 focus, was just looking at the cable division of their business and using that as proof of concept to ultimately in phase 2 bring in the other business divisions. So same scope, same functional area for all 3 divisions in terms of e-commerce, but ultimately saying, hey, this is our key need for the cable division, and then once we get ROI and proof of concept, we'll roll this out to the other divisions. So just some things to consider, or that we had to consider. They have basically 2 sales channels, if you will. They are a wholesale distributor, but if any general consumer, Joe Schmo, wants to come on their website and buy products, they're perfectly fine with that. They just want the customer to create an account online so that they have a backend Sage account to tie it to, and then allow for customers to place orders, see products, etc. So they had multiple customer segments we were going after, and obviously each of those have their own considerations. The customer group specific, that's a mouthful, product offerings, but basically what their situation was is they had different customer groups. So government, contractor base, school districts. So they had all these different groups of customers for each of their different divisions. And they wanted to make sure that when customer A logged in, they saw a product offering that fit their customer group, whereas customer B logs in and sees a product offering that fits their customer group. So the notion of having account specifics or customer specific product offerings was a big thing for them. And then they did have staffing challenges. So this was, as I mentioned here in the bottom section, late in 2021. They had a couple marketing resources that also doubled up as some sales and IT resources. So they didn't just have a project team idly standing by, and we needed to bring in an implementation partner. So again, that had implications from both a budget as well as just a day-to-day X's and O's of getting the solution implemented consideration to make there. So what was the outcome with this client? They purchased their initial phase 1 project in September 2021. They went live with that public site replacement for the legacy website for the cable division in January of 2022, so earlier this year. They basically took all of Q1, Q2, and most of Q3 to say, hey, we're just focusing on stabilization. We're going to focus on other projects. We're going to let the website kind of run and learn from it. And then we'll pick back up any future projects, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, when we're kind of through stabilizing the existing website. And so this customer actually reached out to me the other week. But basically what they wanted to do was start planning out phase 2 so that they could basically go into 2023 with a January, Q1 project start to replace the additional 2 legacy websites. So they would have a single CIMcloud platform managing and running all 3 websites utilizing the same Sage 100 integration. So the planning of that is probably something we'll do over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And then they'll come into the new year with that project already queued up. So using these examples, really the big thing I wanted to just kind of highlight is where I fit into the piece of helping you put together a plan and establish a long-term vision and a series of projects that ultimately work towards that long-term vision, but doing it in a way that's financially responsible and that doesn't bite off too much project scope for whatever the project team we put in place is. So 2 quick examples there just to kind of bring this together. I'm going to hit takeaways and then open it up for any questions that have come through during the presentation. So I'm going to just give the cliff notes here and you can read on your own. But basically, the big thing I wanted to highlight throughout today's presentation is every customer I work with is completely unique. Every business has their own challenges, their own way of utilizing Sage 100. Maybe you have UDFs, custom tables. So basically, we have out-of-the-box standard product that's repeatable and deployable, and then we can fit it around your unique business case. I've said this 20 times, the word phase is probably burned out by now, but establishing must-haves versus maybe we'll utilize this in the future, or customers may like this, but we're not sure. Establishing what those must-haves and working towards that in phase 1 are going to be key, so that you're not making financial investments based on assumptions, and also so that we're building a solution that's going to be utilized by customers and employees. And then basically the final thing here, I know that when you're working with solutions like Matrix, there's competing solutions and projects that you want to do. Maybe you want to look at a different ERP system as your business grows. Maybe you're looking at doing an upgrade with Sage 100. But the key thing is when you're investing in e-commerce, making sure you're doing that with a solution and a company that can grow with you as your business evolves. So whether that's a planned multi-phase project like I've alluded to here, or hey, we just got acquired and we are changing our ERP system to meet the acquiring company's needs, or hey, we have leadership turnover and we've been utilizing the website like this, but the new leadership team has a different vision. And so we want to change the way that we utilize and work with CIMcloud. Again, having a vendor that's more consultative versus just, hey, here's our product. It's a one size fits all type of solution. Is key for your business. So again, I really would love to speak specifically with everyone in our audience live and in the recorded audience, just to kind of frame how CIMcloud can be a fit for you individually. So that was my general presentation here. Obviously open it up for any questions or comments or feedback that's going to come throughout.
Thanks, Jack. This is Jeremy. So a couple of things. When you look at the phased approach that you took with those clients that you discussed in your case studies, what kind of cost is laid out in those different phases? And I'm sure there's a wide breadth with aesthetics and design work, but I guess with the cost, is there a way to limit the cost on the initial side with templates and things that you've already built out? I guess give us some range of price when you look at those phases.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. So our business model is a subscription as a service model. So SaaS, if you're familiar with the software industry, but every project that I do has a one-time license fee. So whether we're doing a full public site replacement, a B2B portal, a rep portal, all of that starts at $8,000. So that's a one-time platform license fee. And then all other costs on the project outside of labor, which we alluded to a little bit there, are rolled up in your monthly fees. So my base product is $950 a month. That would be your B2B customer portal. And so from there, all costs, whether that's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, is just allocated in your monthly fees. So essentially you have an $8,000 one-time platform purchase fee or a license fee. You have cost tied to your labor, and I help kind of frame that all up so we can have a project budget that we're working against. And then the monthly fees range anywhere, like I said, $950 is my base product price. We do have a solution that's even lower than that doesn't really cover, it's more of just a visibility only portal. So I haven't really focused on that today. And then, again, as you add on functionality, as you add on additional websites, additional use cases, that all just goes into your monthly fee. So I think last year my average project was $1,450 roundabouts on the monthly side. So $8,000, and then all of your additional cost is cash flowed out in those monthly recurring fees.
That's nice because you can really spread it at that point over the life of the site. I have
Exactly.
while I asked Jack that question, I did unlock the mics on the attendees. So if anyone has a question, just unmute and ask away. I guess one thing that seems to be a trend that you didn't speak of in your trends piece of the puzzle was mobility. It seems like, I know we're watching our analytics on our own website, and 80-90% of our traffic's coming through a mobile device. Do you see that same trend in B2B, or is it still desktops coming in?
No, that's a great question as well. So in the e-commerce world, everything must be mobile responsive. To your point, people are on laptops, iPads, phones, desktops. Everybody's got kind of a different work setup, and that obviously plays into some of the remote work stuff as well. But so basically what we do is when we're building the website, and our standard base template is mobile responsive. So you can hit it from a desktop, and you have kind of one layout and experience. Obviously on a phone, that's going to be a little different there. So there is mobile templates for any device that could be hit. And then if we're doing any design customizations, that's a big thing that must be accounted for. So, hey, your vision of your website is great for desktop, but let's think about how it's going to play in a mobile, in a cell, laptop, iPad type environment. And Jeremy, the big thing that kind of goes without saying here is when you're talking about the 24/7 business connectivity, understanding that people, 8 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock in the morning, having their coffee, maybe they're placing an order from home or checking up on inventory from the road, or you got a sales rep that's calling on accounts in the field, making sure that access is all designed to the device they're using is key. And the only other thing I would allude to here is any device that has internet connection can access CIMcloud. So anywhere you can just hit a website, you can obviously utilize our solution as well. So that's a good question, and something that really is table stakes in today's e-commerce, and something that's included in our base product is mobile responsive templates.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing to me still a lot of sites that are not mobile responsive. So it's just a key aspect, and we do so much testing on desktops and on screens, but we don't go the mobile device where most people are coming from. So definitely,
and then all of a sudden you start having those side rails in the middle of the screen, and you got text overlapping each other, and when it starts getting frustrating for customers to use a tool, they stop using it. So that's the name of the game. Meet customers where they are.
All right. So any questions from the crowd? Again, you can unlock your mic and ask away. All right, with that being said, if no questions are coming through, you can get a hold of me at jeremy.russell@matrixintegrated.com, or Nate as well. You can give us a call. We'll get you in touch with Jack and set up meetings and coordinate with him if you're interested in CIMcloud. In the meantime, have a great day and a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, Jack, for your time and energy in this presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank y'all for including me. And y'all follow up with Jeremy and Nate, and we'll talk and set up a specific conversation on your business. And hope everybody has a great rest of the week.